Now, according to Court of Side, Arsenal have held talks with PSV winger Johan Bakayoko. The Belgian will prioritize playing time when picking his next club, and Arsenal are very much interested in signing him. Welcome back to the Cossy Arsenal podcast. My name is Cossy. Welcome back to brand new video. Lots of stories making their rounds. We'll talk about Thomas Partey as well in this one, because according to Court of Side still, there is a consortium from Saudi Arabia that has reached out to Thomas Partey. He's open to proposals, and they're trying to agree personal terms with the player before contacting Arsenal for a potential move. Arsenal believe Partey will leave this this summer, and a fee around 20 to 25 million is going to be enough. Now, Arsenal have set a 40 million asking price for ESR. His future, according to The Athletic, is not yet 100% decided. However, Arsenal will look to earn around 40 million, with Fulham and Crystal Palace having made contact for ESR today. Now, there's a lot to dive into. How about you hit the like button, you sit down, and in the comment box below, you let me know. 40 million for ESR, isn't that too small? I mean, the likes of Eze are going for 60 million. The likes of Olise are going for 60 million. Edin Ketia has been priced at 50 million by Arsenal. Is ESR not priced, too low for you? Let me know in the comment box below. And Partey, what do you think? Do you think you'll end up at Saudi Arabia this time? And what are your thoughts on Johan Bakayoko versus Pedro Neto versus Nico Williams? Which one do you think Arsenal should actually be looking on? So, according to Court of Side, who have been reporting a lot today, by the way, they've actually said that Arsenal have held talks with PSV winger Johan Bakayoko, and the Belgian will prioritize game time or playing time, regardless of whether or where he actually ends up. So, Arsenal have to be very, very keen on that one. He wants game time, he wants to play. And when you have a manager like Mikel Arteta that is very weak at rotating his team, that is very weak at giving players game time, if Saka and Martinelli are starting, that means Bakayoko doesn't get good game time. You're not actually going to get him. But I think that will change come next season. So, Johan Bakayoko, let's talk about him. Now, we have seen him for Belgium at the Euros. We saw him in the second game when they were playing Romania. They did win that game, and he was a real game changer. I like him. I like his profile. He's a player that is really close to Bukayo Saka, but I have a problem with him. My problem with Johan Bakayoko is he's too close to Bukayo Saka and very far away from Gabriel Martinelli. For me, the ideal situation and the ideal profile of a winger Arsenal should be signing this summer is a player who can actually double as competition for Bukayo Saka and also competition for Gabriel Martinelli. And that's why Nico Williams still stands out on my list of wingers. That's why Nico Williams, in my opinion, is the best option Arsenal should be looking to sign this summer. However, I'm not saying Johan Bakayoko is not a good option. I'm not saying he's not a good winger. What I'm trying to say is, if Arsenal are really trying to bring in a versatile winger, a versatile option, a dynamic winger, on that forward line, Nico Williams comes first, and then Johan Bakayoko comes second. But the thing with Bakayoko, that deal is easier for Arsenal to do as compared to the other deals, as compared to the Nico Williams deal, as compared to the Pedro Neto deal. So when you look at Pedro Neto, the clubs that are interested, Man City is there. They'll be willing to pay about 50 million. Tottenham are there. They'll be willing to pay about 50 million. And also Newcastle are there. They're desperate for a winger. So if you're Arsenal, you don't want to get mixed into that competition. Again, Premier League proven player, highly rated by a couple of managers. I think Arsenal, that's where you decide to walk away. And that is a situation where you don't want to indulge yourself, because you are going to get scammed and you're going to pay a lot of money for a player that is injury prone, and a lot of money for a player you shouldn't actually pay a lot of money for. So for me, Pedro Neto, instead of going for the Pedro Neto deal, Arsenal would rather go for the Bakayoko deal. The advantage with the Nico Williams deal is there are not so many clubs interested in him, with Chelsea resting their interest, with Barcelona not financially able to meet his asking price. That leaves you with Arsenal and Liverpool. So if Liverpool are willing to spend £48 million at once on him and give him 200,000 a week as well, or more than 200,000 a week as well, fair play, fair deal, let them take him. But if Arsenal can agree a deal with him and also find a way of paying that release clause with Atletico Bilbao, that is the play you've got to do. That is the deal that you've got to do. Bakayoko is an interesting profile. Young, very, very energetic, very electric, and he's got that flickering. He's got that ability to beat a player, not only with 1v1 take-ons, but his space, his positioning, and he likes to receive the ball while already in motion, and that allows him to beat players a little bit quickly. When you compare him to players like Saka, Saka receives the ball a lot while he's standing, so he receives the ball to his feet rather than in space. And I liked it when Saka, I think that was in the 2022-23 season, when Saka received the ball on the half turn, right? He received the ball in space, which allowed him to drive instantly, as compared to last season where he stands, receives the ball, and then he looks to beat a player 1v1. I don't think he's got that technical ability. But for me, again, the Bakayoko deal would cost Arsenal between 45 million euros to 60 million euros. That is almost in the same region as the Nico Williams deal. That is a little bit, understandably cheaper than the Pedro Neto deal. Of course, Pedro Neto is Premier League proven. He's done it at a bigger stage, so they would Wolves would look at him as a naturally better talent than Bakayoko, and he's a naturally better talent than Bakayoko. Maybe he's not a better talent than Nico Williams, Neto. I mean, it would depend. But Bakayoko is a deal I would love to see Arsenal do. If we can't get Nico Williams, I am all for Timu. Did I say Timu Bakayoko? I'm all for Johan Bakayoko. Good player. We played him against him. When we played PSV, and he is a player you don't want to go against. He is a player that is absolutely deadly. So if Arsenal are 100% sure that they can get this deal done, can play on the right wing, I'm not really sure about his abilities on the left wing. I'm not sure about his abilities, but when I look at him, he doesn't hit me as a player who can play on the left wing as well. But if we're looking for competition for Saka, and that's what we want this summer, Bakayoko is just good enough. He's just enough for that profile. So talks have happened. Player wants game time. Now, I don't think he comes in at Arsenal and gets game time right away. Why? Because when you look at that left-hand side, there are two players who are clear of him, who are clearly ahead of him, in Gabriel Martinelli and also Leandro Trossard. When you think about the right-hand side, Saka is miles better, like miles better than him, right? So at the moment, I think his game time would be coming in cup competitions. His game time would be coming in games where Arsenal are already leading, or games where Arsenal want to change the game, bring in something different, rotate Saka. I think that's the thing. And of course, the question here for Mikel Arteta is he willing to drop his star man? Is he willing now to share minutes with Bukayo Saka? If you bring in a player like Bakayoko for 45 million, are you now going to start giving Saka 70 minutes and Bakayoko 20? And in some games, giving Bakayoko 90 minutes in the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup, right? So for me, what I like about the idea of Bakayoko is that squad depth. Arsenal have the squad depth. Arsenal have, a lot of players to turn to, a lot of options to turn to. That is one of the things I like about this deal, right? You could have a first 11. You would have, a second 11. Imagine Arsenal's second 11 could be, let's say Ramsdale stays. Okay, Ramsdale doesn't stay, right? Ramsdale doesn't stay. Let's say, who's the goalkeeper, right? Who's the goalkeeper? Maybe Steele. Maybe Arsenal signs Steele, and he's the new goalkeeper. So Arsenal signs Steele. At centre-back, you could have Julian Timber playing at centre-back, at right centre-back. You could have Tomiyasu at centre-back too. You could have Kivio at left-back, and you could have, a new right-back probably, right? Or Ben White stays at right-back. Then in midfield, you could have Jorginho as part of your second 11. You could have, maybe if Arsenal sign a number 8 this season, and then Fabio Vieira. And then up top, you could have Johan Bakayoko, Trossard as part of your second 11, Gabriel Jesus as well. So I think we'll have two good 11s and a big squad to compete at at a good front. That's why players like Bakayoko are going to be very important. But even if it comes in and it doesn't shine right away from the first season, I won't be surprised to see him, become increasingly important for Arsenal in the in years to come. Right? Still very young, very interesting profile, and he has a very high ceiling. So let's wait and see what comes out of that one. But Arsenal have held talks with the player to see if he can actually come in at the club. Now, Thomas Partey. Thomas Teye Partey. As of today, court offside have been informed that Arsenal have yet to receive any contact in the player, Thomas Partey. The PIF intends to first finalize personal terms with Partey, including identifying the specific Saudi Arabian Pro League club he will join before initiating club talks with Arsenal. Thomas Teye Partey, your boy, is open to proposals. I told you he was gonna leave. I told you an offer was gonna arrive. I told you Saudi Arabia would come in, and this time they would come stronger. I think with Partey, what he wanted was to play in the Champions League, was to represent Arsenal in the Champions League. And he has it now. But if Partey is clever, at 31, 32, 33, 34, you're going to make more money than you've made in the last 30 years. You're going to make more money in 3 years than you have made in the past 30 years. You can't pass on that opportunity. You really can't. They're going to give him massive wages. They're going to give him a very good livelihood. If you're Partey, you've got to go there. And this is in the lens of Thomas Partey. For Arsenal, if we are offered 20 to 25 million, we will be fools not to sell. And I've told you, if you're selling Partey and you're bringing in a player like Kimmich, that is a good swap. That's a good deal. Regardless of what happens, that is a good deal. So, Partey, will he go to Saudi Arabia? It's increasingly likely. It's increasingly likely. And Arsenal, having made a number 6 their priority, by now they know. By now they know that Thomas Partey, has contacts with Saudi Arabia. I'm watching the Belgian game, and Johan Bakayoko is about to come on, right? So they know that Partey has contact with Saudi Arabia, and they already know that at the moment, the player is open to offers. That's why they've made a number 6 their priority. I can see him leave. That's one thing I'm going to say. I can see him leave this summer. I can see him in the Saudi Arabian Pro League. The likes of Kante have gone. The likes of Benzema have gone there. When we thought that they still have very good football in their legs, they've actually gone there. So for me, I still think we will see Thomas Partey in Saudi Arabia. And Arsenal, if we manage to get 20 million out of that deal, we should spend that 20 million on Joshua Kimmich. Spend that 20 million on Joshua Kimmich, and you will see a balance. I don't think there is a decline in quality if you lose Partey and you bring in Kimmich. Okay, physicality, and Partey is now Premier League proven, honestly. Premier League proven. But also Partey, in terms of that role, he's one of the best players. But what I like about Kimmich as well, he can come in with experience, with pedigree, with a winning mentality, and he is a smart footballer, but also a brave footballer. He's able to play passes that break through the lines, is able to play balls that break through the lines. So I don't think Arsenal have anything to be fearful if we get a Kimmich and lose Partey. Another player Arsenal could be set to lose this summer is ESR, with 2 clubs have made contact with Arsenal today regarding the signature and transfer of ESR. So Fulham and Crystal Palace, according to Team News and Ticks, have both made contact with Arsenal today about ESR. The club want over 40 million for the player. Joke. It's a joke. It's a joke. It's a joke. 40 million. Like, how have we decided that Eddie Nketiah's talent is 50 million and ESR's talent is 40 million. In any way, shape or form, we should be looking to keep ESR and sell Eddie Nketiah. So Eddie Nketiah's valuation should be at 45 or 40 million. And by the way, that valuation for Eddie Nketiah, I support it. But you can't value him at 40. Because no club is going to come in and say, we are giving you 40 straight. You can't value him at 40. You're going to get like 30 out of him. Like, if I was to value ESR, I would value him at how much? I would value him at 60 million. And then clubs come in and they give me 40 million. Fair deal. But according to Charles Watts, he says that his future has not yet been decided, but clubs have made contact. I think clubs now frequently making contact, they know that there's a possibility they get him. So my boy ESR could leave, but not for 40 million, not less than 40 million. And pricing him at 40 million means clubs will exploit that opportunity and they will negotiate it down. So looks like Arsenal kicking themselves in the teeth there.